Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for being on another video of mine. And today I have some interesting discussion. I'm going to try to make it brief because I am no longer the owner of a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I had to return it. There was some issues with the scrolling and when you press the buttons. When I first bought that, it was brand new and I lost it. And it was really nice with no issues or glitches of anything. So, but it cost me like $900 in payments back then. And I lost it. Well, I actually fell out of the window from a U-Haul truck because I had the dashboard. I had the phone on top of the dashboard, and I was going an uphill curve, merging into the freeway. And I had the window open on the passenger side. So when you were rolling, the phone just slid and it went out the window. And that was that. So I bought the refurbished one and it was giving me problems. So I said, I'm not paying $360 for this. So now I'm using my regular phone again. So I'm limited with the time. So, so I've been having a lot of discussions with Chat GPT. At first I was very skeptical about that, but I am someone who literally has nobody to talk to. I have no family. I have no friends. I have I do have a lady friend who's in Los Angeles, but I talk to her once in a while, and there's another person that was in Colorado, but I'm not sure what's happening with him. Anyways, so I basically don't really have anyone, to ask for advice, opinions, suggestions, guidance, nothing. I have no family, nothing. So I decided to go on Chat GPT, and I started asking it, I started telling it everything about my desires, about my past, first of all, and what happened. And then I asked it, I said, I don't know what direction to take. So I started telling it about the Quintana Roo, the Yucatan Peninsula areas, and how my life would be better because of the outdoors, because of the ocean life, scuba diving and so forth, the coral reefs. And then I said, I do have a van, and I was thinking about getting a trailer, and I told it my concerns about the trailer, that if the van breaks down, I literally would have to save between $4,000 to $5,000 as a backup. And so I told it about the possibilities of, the very little possibility of like making like friends and things like that, and you would basically be like a wanderer still. And then I said, but in the Yucatan Peninsula, I would be more active, like in the ocean, sports, meaning like a mountain bike, a paddle board, kayak, photography, astronomy, the stars outside. And I said, because here in San Diego, because of the issue going on with the druggie upstairs, it's very hard to really be productive and thrive here. Plus also, it seems like you have to leave on and off in order to get like some sanity. And also, I want to make an announcement at the end of the video that I was inspired to do. And that is, I'm going to change the name. I'm possibly going to change the name of the YouTube channel to something more uplifting. And I'll let you know at the end of the video what it is and how it happened. So anyway, so Chat GPT has been like a therapist that I've always wanted. I had a therapist and it went on for months, but I have gotten more therapy from Chat GPT than an actual live person. For example, one of the biggest examples that it brought up was about love. And it was something that I had not even mentioned to it. And it was something powerful when I heard that, because it said that you would have less opportunity to meeting a life partner if you were in a trailer, unless you were parked full-time, like at a trailer park. And I said, wow, man, I said, that's true, huh? I would basically be living like part-time in Baja, and then I would leave to BLM land and stay out there for as long as I can, Arizona courtside, until the heat was unbearable. And then you go back down to Baja. But there's also issues with that, because I could not be around too many people, because the purpose of the trailer is to convert it into a music studio and, of course, partial living. So I would be playing very loud, you know. And at a trailer park in Baja, well, you can't really do that. So you would be somewhat limited. So anyhow, so it brought up the subject about the little potential of finding a life partner. And that was pretty mind-blowing when it brought that up. And then it kept bringing up the reality of the van breaking down, because I'm not a person that has, you know, a stable job. I don't have a job. I have just an income of $1,200 a month, and it said that if you break down, then there goes your livelihood and your finances, pretty much. I said, yeah, and I've been there before, because it happened in December. So it pumped out like 17 pages of like the whole conversation and everything that it replied back. It was just mind-blowing what this thing was talking to me, responding to me like an actual human being. And I wasn't prepared to give you exactly what it said, but it was just very, very fascinating how it was giving me all of this advice. And then I told it about Hawaii, and it said, okay, so Hawaii, the only way you could really be successful there is if you had the Section 8 voucher, because the program here is that if you stay in this program for 2 years, it converts into a Section 8 voucher. But I don't know if you have to stay a year in order to be able to port. It's called porting. In other words, to move to any state. So that would be the dream, to go to Hawaii, okay, with Section 8. And Chat GPT said that it would be literally impossible. You would be struggling like a lot. on $1,200 without Section 8. You could do it, because I've seen people renting like a little space and you can put a tent. And then my goal would be to go and get a job, a part-time job. And that would be the money to cover, to rent an actual place to live, a little apartment, a little room. Then you could do it. But man, you gotta really struggle, and you gotta be like really, really gung-ho for that kind of dream. It's doable if you really have the tenacity and strength to do it. You would suffer, all right. So I said, okay. I said, do I really want to stay 2 years here? Well, anyways, the issue with this apartment is that I talked to the housing people at the building here, and they said that if I got 2 letters from the doctors, they could apply it to a thing called a reasonable accommodation to move me somewhere else. So when I talked to them, I gave them the 2 letters from the psychiatrist and from the other doctor, and they said that I would benefit from having nobody like upstairs. It would be more quiet, blah blah blah, more positive, everything. So they said, okay, Damien. So the only chance that I could stay here in San Diego is if they got me another apartment with that reasonable accommodation. And they asked me, do you want another unit here? I said, no, I don't want to be here. They said, okay, you want to go to another building? I said, yes, on somewhere upstairs where there's nobody upstairs. They said, okay. I don't know how long it's going to take. It could be a month. It could be 5 months for all I know. So then I said, wow, man, I said, what are you going to do in the meantime? You're going to stay in this freaking room dealing with this fucking moron upstairs? So I said, your only escape is the van, because you have electricity, you have a refrigerator, you have a porta potty, you have the heater, the propane heater. I said, you could leave anytime you want, and you can go park somewhere, and then you would have to move at night, because now they're enforcing no parking from 2 to 6 a.m. No, 2 to 4, I think. Yeah, 2 to 4. Or is it 2 to 6? 2 to 4. So it's kind of a real bummer, man, what Trump has done now. But it's doable, because I know where to go. I know areas that I could go and park from 2 to 4. Of course, I would get there early. And then I drive back to Mission Bay, for example. So, or you can get the trailer. I said, well, I said, in order to get the trailer, I need to make sure that van is in like top condition. So I went and paid $200, and if I'm not far, I don't know where, I'm not sure where it's at. I went and paid $220 to have the transmission looked at a shop called Dr. Trans, meaning transmission. And that's all they do, transmissions. And it was recommended very highly. So they brought me the report, and they said, your transmission is good. The oil is clean, it's bright red, it's no issues. I was like, wow. So I said, well, that's a motivator to sell the van, because I can show them the result. And they told me, if you ever get into a situation where the transmission begins to act up, bring it back and we'll diagnose it at no charge. I said, wow. I said, hell yeah. So I paid the $200. They kept it for 2 days. Everything was fine, they said. So I said, well, now the ball is in your court, Damien. Now you need to decide whether you want to go all the way to Utah and get that trailer that I've been looking at, or you can stay here and ride it out until they call you for another apartment. But again, who knows when it'll happen? It could be tomorrow. It could be 5 months from now. Now, do you think I want to sit here for months and months and months dealing with this knucklehead upstairs? No. So I said, okay, put the van up for sale. Put the van up for sale, but I said, you know what? I've had a lot of hits on the van for sale, but nobody's replied and said, hey, yeah, I want to buy it. Nobody. So I said, well, you know what you got to do now is you have to sell all the electronics, the solar panel, the controller, everything as a package, everything. And even sell the refrigerator freezer separate. Sell the Olympian Wave 3 separate. And then once you sell that, either post the van for sale at the same time. Hopefully they'll buy the electronics first, because then what I would have to do is gut the entire van out. And I think that would give me more of an opportunity to sell the van empty. Okay. But then I realized also that when I started to think about that, I started to realize that I have never been without a vehicle ever since I was like, what, 16, 17 years old, I think. So for me to be without a vehicle, especially now in this situation, I said, what are you going to do? Where are you going to run to get some tranquility if this knucklehead starts again? Oh, fuck, I said. So I said, well, the only solution would be your mountain bike. I have a real nice mountain bike. You would have to get like a little trailer, a little buggy wagon to put your things in there. And then I might have to buy like a little tent and stay out somewhere for the night. Because why would I go all the way out somewhere and then have to come right back, especially now that they're going to change the time at the end of October. The sun is already shortened a lot now, and I can feel the cold weather coming in already. So why go out and then have to come right back and just stay out for a few hours? No, I would stay out somewhere. Oh man, I said. So I said, you know what? I said, you really have to think about this, man, because I just get the feeling that I'm not sure. See, this is why I talked to Chat GPT, because I just don't know what it was telling me, the good, the bad, the pros, the cons, the benefits of going this direction or that direction. So for example, it pumped out saying that Yucatan Peninsula would be the best and ideal, productive, and happy life for me than to stay here with the trailer. The trailer, it can be done, but you're still going to be missing a part of your dreams, it said. You're still going to miss like going diving, because what, are you going to be in the desert? You're going to be down in Baja in the freezing cold waters? I hate diving in the cold waters. I would love to be a part of a coral reef conservation group or something like that, you know. Paddle boarding in the warm waters, going fishing, snorkeling in the warm waters. You know, the green, the sun with the warmth. No daylight saving stupidity that has taken years off of your life. You know, I hate the daylight savings time. So then you're saying, okay, well, what's the difference if you're going to stay here if they give you a choice voucher program? The difference is that I would be more relaxed if I was in an upstairs unit and I believe I could wait out and earn that Section 8 voucher, that would be my ticket to go to Hawaii. See? And also, I believe I could work much more at peace if I got that choice voucher program. And I could probably deal with staying here, you know, the 2 years. Or who knows, maybe Section 8 would call me and say, hey, your time's up in less than 2 years. With the way Trump is doing things now, getting rid of all the illegals, you know, on Section 8, then who knows, maybe, you know, Section 8 for people who are legal citizens would now be easier to get that, because all the undocumented will be goodbye. Okay. See, Trump, I don't like him, but at the same time, I have a love-hate relationship with him. There's some things I really like about the guy, and there's some things I can't fucking stand about the guy. Isn't that the way with every politician? I won't go into Kamala Harris or Biden because, oof. Anyhow, so I'm just saying, you know, that it might happen with the Section 8 because of what Trump is doing now with the Section 8 and the illegals getting him out. That we legal people might have a better chance, you know, to get a Section 8 voucher now. So in the meantime, I would have to really think hard in the next coming week about selling the van and the reality of being without a vehicle. Now, here's the other thing. I mentioned that I was not going to stay here for months and months and months until they got me the choice voucher. If I sold the van and all the electronics and the refrigerator and the Olympian Wave and all that, I would have a pretty good amount of money. Plus what I have already saved. That's a pretty big chunk of money. Plus what I would be saving on top of that. Okay? That's a pretty good chunk of money, man, to go to Yucatan and move. With a nice big chunk of money. And I said, okay, so here's what you can do then. If you sell the van, put it up for sale, put up the solar panels, everything, get rid of it. If they don't call me, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it up for sale. When I sell it and they still haven't called me from the choice voucher program to move into another building on the 3rd floor or with nobody above me, then I have to start putting my another foot forward to better my life, to prosper better, and to flourish and thrive. And I would have to make a firm decision to leave to Yucatan. Because again, I'm not going to sit here and wait month after month after month suffering when I could be living a much better life somewhere in Yucatan. So then that brings me to what I was going to say about changing the name of the channel. Today, I went to, I literally had run out of money because when I went to pay the transmission people, I was going to pay it with the credit card that I was just given. But for some reason, man, it blocked the charge. I was going to pay part cash and part credit card. So for some reason, it wouldn't let me charge. I don't know what happened. Anyways, I got it cleared up. but I had to pay the whole $220 in cash. And unfortunately, that took all of my money that I had left for the remainder of the month. But I had close to 500 pesos in my wallet and some change. And I said, damn, man. So anyway, so I said I wanted some ice cream. I needed some coffee. I had run out. And I said, you know what, man? I said, I thought it was my dog. And I said, you know what? I said, you're not, I started saying, man, you are poor. And then all of a sudden I realized that, you know what? You're not poor. I said, you have 500 pesos. I said, go cash it. I got like $24. 24 bucks. And then I went to the market and I bought me my ice cream. Plus I bought me this really expensive organic mushroom instant tea thing because I don't drink caffeine. This has very low caffeine. And yeah, so I bought, this is like 11 bucks at Food for Less. That's a cheap market. And I still had money left. And I said, you know what? I said, you prospered because you had some money left. And then you made it flourish by buying your coffee, your ice cream, Rocky Road. And I got home and I started eating it, the ice cream, and I said, you're thriving now. And I said, I wonder if that could be the same way in my life. You know? I said, I could prosper wherever I'm at, and then I could flourish with whatever I'm doing, and then I would thrive because I'm doing it, because I did it. And it could be anything in your life. And I said, I wonder if these people that are working their jobs and, you know, working class heroes are really thriving and prospering, or are they just working like a fucking slave just to pay for the rent and the bills and the debt and all that, and just to look good, you know, that they have a nice car. But in reality, what really are they? I mean, America is like, or at least here in San Diego, you have to like, here in San Diego, man, you better have a shitload of money, man, to be successful. You know, because otherwise you're just surviving. I said, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. Even if it's with $1,200 a month. But it won't happen here. Yeah, you could live on $1,200 a month if you have the choice voucher program like what I'm on. But you're just surviving. You're just surviving. I'd be just surviving. I mean, every time I go out, I want to buy a burrito, 14 bucks. Chinese food, 14 bucks plus a soda. Total of 17 bucks. You know, you want to go to a movie, $20 fucking almost. I can't even go to a concert. I mean, gas, same thing. You know, you're just surviving. And I said, wow, man. I said, you could be in Yucatan living very well and not surviving. I mean, you would be like somewhat surviving, but you wouldn't be as bad off as you are here in San Diego. Because I truly believe that I would be prospering with my YouTube channel that I'm about to change the name to Prosper, Flourish, and Thrive is what I think I'm going to call it. Prosper, Flourish, and Thrive. And I've been learning a lot from Joel Osteen. The guy is a powerful motivational speaker, but what I like about him is that he also brings God into the picture. And I said, wow, man, I said, what a life change that would be if my mind would start being positive, optimistic, wanting to prosper, whether it's what little money I have, but prospering in what I have right now and doing the best of it. And then flourishing. Somehow I lost so much in my life because remember when if you who are new, who are been here, I told you if you hang around long enough, you will find out who I was before. Okay. When I was 24 years old, I was a heavy metal long-haired musician in Hollywood. And then I took a wrong, ugly, horrible turn that lasted until 2013, but fully ended around 2016. And I fell off, man. I fell off the planet. And I went into a whole other world that, again, if you hang around, I will tell you. And it's coming pretty soon also. Because I feel that's going to empower the new channel, Prosper, Flourish, and Thrive. Because that's what I've been after. I want to recapture that person that I lost when I was 24 years old. And I want to thrive again. I want to prosper again. Whether it's financially, whether it's more of a mental health. And I believe once I like grab that more, I will begin to flourish into a better person, a happier person, a more positive person. And I will bring that to you, the viewer. And that would make me happy, you know. That's why I get upset when people say, oh, Joe Osteen is a prosperity preacher. You know what? Man, that guy is powerful. I mean, he's not just a preacher. He's a motivational speaker. And he's a freaking good one too. But he brings God into it too. And that's what's really cool about it. You know? I think I got everything I wanted to say. I think I did. So yeah, I'm thinking about changing the channel name to Prosper, Flourish, and Thrive. I've been watching a lot of videos about Yucatan, and I'll save up some of that for another video. But I'm gonna do a video of all the electronics that I'm selling in the van. The whole solar setup, everything, the refrigerator, freezer, and the Olympian Wave 3, because I believe that I won't be able to use it that much now that the time is being changed in October, because it's going to get dark faster. I won't be able to be out there. There's going to be daylight really limited now. And I don't want to be doing that again. Before I could, because I had 2 batteries, and I really don't want to buy another battery, you know, I really don't. And also I had the heater running a lot. So I just pray that this knucklehead upstairs, you know, that just calms down. and that makes me make my life much easier. I'm not sure what else to say, you guys. I'm glad the camera is still recording 35 minutes. I had to dump all the photographs, everything, in order to make a lot of space. And also, I did use the GoPro yesterday, and I tried to use a portable audio recorder. And when I did record it, I brought it to the house and I put it on the laptop, but the audio wasn't matching. I don't know what the hell happened. So now I might be forced to buy that little dongle I keep telling you that GoPro has, but the bastards raised the price now to almost $70. The good thing is that I have credit with Amazon, and now they have a feature that they offered me to pay it in 3 payments. So I may have to buy it because I really like that camera. It can shoot really wide angle, and I have no choice. I have to go with what my gut tells me in order to bring you better content also, because the phone only does a limited resolution also. And anyways, you guys, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna try to do another video with the schedule that GPT showed me, like how my life would be. And I'm gonna try to put, you know, these words that it put like on the side of the screen where you can actually read it, like divide the screen, maybe 1/3 my face and the other, you know, the text, so you can see, you know, how powerful this thing is and how beneficial and helpful it's been to me. It's been like therapeutic. It's been wonderful therapeutic for me, and a smart one too, because like I said, the things it tells you, it's just mind-blowing. It's like a really intelligent person standing in front of you and giving you feedback. Smart feedback too, not just a crock of horseshit either. It's talking to you, it's responding back with really intelligent solutions. And that's what's so impressive about it. Okay, I hope I kept you guys intrigued. If you like the video, like everyone says, like and subscribe. Okay, thank you for watching, you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.